Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is Scribes and Scrolls, the Candlekeep Mysteries, Book 6, Chapter 63, The Root of the Problem. And in just a moment, we'll do a recap, and I will tell you all about how I almost TPK'd everybody last week.
Oh my god.
And then we'll see if we can do it tonight, because things are still not great.
Things are bad. Straight up not having a good time.
Things are in a bad way. So we'll get to that recap here in just a moment. But first, just a couple of quick announcements. One, if you look up above where M would be, if they were here with us tonight, you will notice there is exactly one domain tome.
I forgot about that.
Just one. Domain tomes are, of course, a way that you, the viewers, can have an influence on the game simply by subscribing, resubscribing, gifting subs, tipping, cheering, all that good stuff. Simply type ! Domain dice in the chat, and you will see how you can do that. Let's see. Dawnbringers, we officially announced that the Dawnbringers, a couple weeks ago, that the Dawnbringers is in the final arc. We are heading towards the end of season 6, after which we will go into the final, the Rise of Ashardalon. Tune in this Thursday, where I will be debuting a very special in-game trailer, talking all about that. So you want to make sure you don't miss that. Next Tuesday, is it next Tuesday? Yeah, next week Tuesday, Avernus is scheduled to be back. We missed our last game. We had an illness, so we couldn't play. And then we are working on, Cari, did we get that scheduled? We're good to go, so that on November 9th we will be airing
airing it on the November 9th.
Yes, we're going to pre-record and air the finale of The Darkness Outside of Broken Branch.
You always forget the name for a second, don't you? It's
a lot of syllables. That time I didn't. That was a dramatic pause.
Gotcha.
That is, of course, our Lord Keeper is the one and only Cari. For her first foray as a game master of any type of game. So very cool. Be sure to tune in for that and see how Cari either kills us all or gets us all to kill each other. So we'll see how that goes. I think the only other thing I want to tell you about before we get into the game is just to remind you that you matter. Your presence on this earth makes a difference. Whether or not you believe it, it is true. We take time to talk about that before every game because it is something that is important. Mental health is important to us here at MTD, and we want to let you know that. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to struggle, but you do not need to struggle alone. At any time, you can come into our chat and you can type ! help, and some URLs will show up in there, and you can check out findahelpline.com, or you can check out takethis.org's growing list of resources. I have on good authority that they have just updated their resources page, added some new things. So be sure to check out those websites, save them, bookmark them and save them for yourself, save them for a friend, and remember, you matter. With that, I think it's time to play some Dungeons and Dragons.
Ooh.
How very fitting that the music I just queued up is called Hag Coven. I did not plan that. It just happened.
All right.
Speaking of Hag Covens, the Fetid Gays, I realized I had been mispronouncing by calling them the Feeted Gays. When I was talking to my son about the Feeted Gays, he was like, what do you mean? They have like a lot of feet? And then I had a fun realization I shared with my players. Clever little wizard's joke. Fetid means rotting or stinking, and gaze means to look at. So the Fetid Gaze literally is the Stink Eye Coven. So keep that in mind, that you almost got your asses kicked by, well, you did get your asses kicked by the stink eye.
Yeah, this is bad.
So,
Uh-oh.
you have recently discovered that the fetid gaze had taken over the Temple of the Restful Lily. They tried to have you killed by the former owner, Silvari Silversong, who had been turned into a Medusa, who in turn turned Mizya and Togo into stone, but Mizya got better. Togo did not. Togo is a statue, a 5,000-pound stone turtle statue down in the shrine. When you came back up, you found the entire place appeared to be abandoned. You immediately started making an assault on the tower, flying up to the top, breaking in, working your way down through where you fought some scarecrows, and you killed a bunch of them, plus a Cambion by the name of Scythe. But at least one of the scarecrows turned out to not be a scarecrow, but in fact it was your friend Little One, who not only had been turned into a Goliath by his own will, for some reason that Goliath form was emaciated and shrunken, and his headband of intellect had been removed.
Which, can I say, is the biggest, like, dick move the dude.
That was the meanest thing ever.
Like, to take off the dude, like my man's headband that granted him. There's a story, Flowers of Alderaan, I believe it is called.
Flowers
Flowers
for
of Algernon, yeah. Flowers for
Thank you.
Algernon.
And that's
Yep,
what
that's
this
exactly
is for me.
that's exactly
Yes,
what happened.
except if that Charlie died at the end. That's what it
No,
of
you
bunch
mean except if
of
Charlie's best
assholes.
friend killed him, like you
Oh
did,
my
Teera, when you
God.
drove your sword into Little One.
Oh, that reminds me. I
The
forgot my
little one
sword.
is dead.
No, because Marta used her clerical magic to revive Little One, though he was feral because of the missing headband of intellect. You decided to follow the blood trail into the darkened room, where the hidden and disguised hags, along with an ooze made up of paint and blood, proceeded to wreak havoc on all of you. Doc was trapped in a painting, a blank canvas, when he went to investigate. And you now see a painting of Doc there. The rest of you, with the exception of Mizya, were knocked unconscious. Actually, I believe Mizya was knocked unconscious at one point, but then was brought back up. Then Mizya was dominated. Mizya is no longer dominated. Teera, Vorn, and Marta were all left unconscious, while Mizya was compelled to summon a tensor's floating disc, and all of the bodies were loaded onto the disc, while the hags gathered up a couple of the paintings, including the painting with Doc trapped inside. While transporting outside and across the yard towards the temple, Mizya was no longer dominated, but you chose to stick with it. You don't believe you believe they know you're no longer dominated, but you're just going along with them for the time being. Though, Mizya, you did manage to discreetly cast Bernard, your unseen servant, who administered a healing potion to Teera. And that is where we are going to pick up, as the hags are leading the way, with Mizya slightly behind them, Tensor's disc floating behind you, with the bodies of Teera, Vorn, and Marta piled on top of it. There's a sliver of moonlight across the yard. Also, up along the way, the hags have brought a feral little one, or rather Vaughn Reed, in this emaciated form, who is sort of lumbering along almost like a zombie, occasionally snarling and snapping in your direction, Mizya. But we're going to look not at Mizya for the moment, but at Teera, as this potion has awakened you. You have that feeling of somebody who, when you went down, you were in a full-on battle rage. But now you're groggy, you're disoriented, you have that post-battle hangover, if you will. And you find, as you open your eyes, that you are looking straight up into the night sky, and you can feel yourself gently floating along. And you can also feel half of, like, Vorn's legs are draped across your legs, and you can feel Marta sort of laying across the two of you.
Okay. So I kind of like, I feel that there's like weird weight on me, and I kind of want to like very, very slowly turn my head just to kind of see what condition my companions are in. Cari knows, but
you turn your head. Go ahead and give me either a medicine check or a perception check, either one at disadvantage.
Oh, disadvantage. Okay. Oh my god, I rolled double 18s. That's a 22 perception.
Okay. You can tell that they are unconscious, but they are stable. They have wounds on them. They're still caked in blood from wounds, as are you. I would say Marta, you can actually feel, because Marta's halfling form is sort of laying across your body. Okay. You can feel Marta's heartbeat. And you can similarly just tell, you can see sort of the gentle rise and fall of Vorn's chest as you look over to the side, as you float there.
I don't see Mizya laying there, right?
You don't.
Okay. Teera kind of just immediately starts to kind of take inventory of everything around her. Do I sense, are we in the very, very back? This disc that we're on in the very, very back?
What do you mean?
Like, so they're walking, you said the hags are ahead of us, and then Mizya, and then the disc behind, or are we all just kind of together?
You're all more or less together. The disc follows 10 feet behind Mizya magically. And the hags are sort of leading the way. You can hear the sound of feet shuffling across the ground nearby, and you hear the occasional and gnashing of teeth.
Okay. So do I get the sense, like, if I moved at all, like, in any kind of dramatic way, it would be detected? Or do I get the sense that I could, like, roll off if I was quiet enough and just kind of stay still and wait for the party to pass me?
I mean, I'm going to leave that up to you. You have all the information of where everybody is, so
yep. Okay.
That's sort of a Teera thing. You can certainly try whatever you want to try.
Yeah, no, I understand. Teera thinks for a second about escape, but then she realizes she doesn't really even know where she would go. If she wanted to run and get help, or if she wanted to she doesn't really even know where she would go. So she kind of just like lays there and just kind of continues to take inventory of what's around her and how many people and where Von Reed is. And as she's doing so, she kind of reaches over and tries to find Vorn's hand in this pile of limbs and unconscious people.
That part is easy enough to do. As you continue to float along, Mizya, you are following the hags as they walk towards the sort of northeastern edge of the northeastern edge of the overall temple, the larger temple of the Restful Lily. And they sort of veer off to the side and are leading you through. There's a few bushes and shrubs here. but you see that they are leading you towards some sort of outbuilding. It's a stone structure. It looks to be maybe about 15 feet and about 10 feet high, almost like a gardening shed or something like that. As they approach, one of the hags turns and looks right at you, and it's the one that was Azursa, the red-haired one. She now has the one large muscular arm and one withered arm. And she turns as the other two open the doors to the shed. She gestures to you, "Yes, take them inside." And as she does so, I'd like you to make a perception check.
Is it sunlight out or no?
It's middle of the night.
Middle of the night? Okay. That is a 7.
Okay. As you head inside and you pass by Teera, you see the one that was Azursa, the one you sparred with, standing. You go ahead and make me a perception check as well.
Disadvantage or no?
This one's gonna be straight up.
Okay. Nat 1.
When the DM tries to get you to see something, but you just fail.
Sorry.
You just
I'm very
can't notice
unconscious. I'm barely conscious.
You do see her sort of from that vantage, almost like squinting through fake closed eyes, as she stands there. And for a moment, Mizya, you can't help but notice that you're about to bring a large floating disc with 3 bodies on it, yourself and 3 good-sized hags, plus this Von Reed, into this very small shed. As everybody sort of starts to move in, and as you pass through the door, and then your disc comes in, the hag closes the door behind her, and you can see with your dark vision that the other hags are continuing to walk forward, and you feel yourself moving at a downward angle. Once inside this shed, you are moving at a sort of semi-steep and curving angle that seems to take you around in a spiral underground. After about 10 minutes of walking, you emerge into this space that has its own illumination. You see that there is the light of a fire. You see some along the walls, there appears to be some bioluminescent lichens that are casting a eerie green glow. You can see that there are tree roots that are hanging down from the ceiling like so many thin fingers. You see some of them snaking across the ceiling and down the walls. The fire has a very large cauldron that is bubbling on top of it. You can see a couple of rough-hewn tables just scattered with a mixture of bones and feathers, animal skins. There's some stained and dirty parchments, some empty bottles, a few jars that look like they have once living things in them. And in the light of the fire, you can see that the far wall of this room is this knotted mass of roots that seem to come in from every angle and sort of intertwine into this knot. As you get to about the middle of the room, the hags turn towards you, Mizya. That's far enough.
I take an extra half step forward before stopping.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. It's the dominance thing. Mizya.
Yeah, I see that. I see
Mizya
what
ain't
you
gonna be
did
told what to do. That's a alpha move right there, dude.
They don't seem to take... If they take heed of it, they don't make any mention of it. They start to... One of them starts to move over towards the cauldron. And as they start mumbling amongst themselves, you hear them. This is just going to make it easier for me to identify them. You hear them referring to one another by name. The one of them was the one you first met when you first arrived, who was introduced as Morgana, is called Dread Morgan. She is the thin, pale elf with matted black hair with bones and teeth in it. The one with the red hair all over her head and arms and back, and the one giant arm, is Vile Saja. And the one who was portrayed as the wood elf who was blind is Auntie Greenbones. She's the one that has bark and fungus growing on her arms and neck, and you can see insects crawling in and out of it. Vile Saja turns to you, Mizya, and says, "Dismiss the disc."
And I wait a couple of beats. And then I just turn and wave my hand and dismiss it.
A lot of single digits I'm rolling.
Man, that's great, right? Like single digits for the GM.
Yeah. The Dread Morgan takes the paintings and starts the ones that she took from upstairs, and she starts setting them up on one of the tables, just kind of moving stuff aside. And she sets up the painting of Doc. And you see this this image of Doc on the canvas, and she sets it up where you can see it. And then next to it, she sets up the painting of Vaughn. She sets up the painting of Silvari Silversong, and then she sets up another painting. This was the one that was on the easel that you all did not see. She sets this painting up, and you see what looks to be a group portrait of your party. You see yourself, Mizya. You see Doc standing behind the group. You see Teera standing there with arms crossed, and you see Vorn standing nearby. You see Marda in front, the smallest of the group. You also see next to that group is Doc, or sorry, not Doc, Togo, as a stone statue. All of you are standing on what appears to be the grass outside of the shrine. And that, where you're standing, is at about the halfway point of this portrait style painting. Landscape style painting. And then there's about an inch of where you see grass and then dirt. And you realize there's other figures standing upside down underneath your party, as if reflections of your party. You see yourself, Mizya. Similar in appearance, except you wear the adornments and accessories that would befit a matron mother of a house of Menzoberranzan. You see Teera, but Teera's form appears to almost have an aura of shadow emanating around it. You see that there is no Togo, and you see that there's just almost like the beginnings of a sketch of Marda. And you see Vorn standing there, but his eyes are glowing deep red, and the look on his face is one of pure anger and hatred. And standing at the back of your group, you see a silhouette of Doc, but it almost looks as if somebody smudged it. Doc appears blurry and hard to focus on. It almost looks like there's a dual image there, like a double exposure.
Do you like it? We worked all evening on it. I think we captured your likeness quite well.
Well, I guess it's a little derivative, if I say so myself.
It's clear you don't appreciate good art.
Is that what you call it?
Careful, Drow. You stand at our pleasure.
Well, if you're going to kill me, I'm not going to make it easy or fun for you.
Oh,
I'm quite unpleasant when I want to be.
we're not going to kill you. That's for Duathine to decide.
Okay. Who? Not like that.
And you notice that the others, while Vile Saj has been talking to you, Auntie Greenbones and Dread Morgan have started adding ingredients, and Vile Saj turns, and they start moving around, and they're humming to themselves, and they are grabbing ingredients from different places in cupboards and under these work tables, and they're starting to throw things into the cauldron, and they're taking turns stirring it. Make me an insight check, and Teera, you can do so at disadvantage.
They're making a witch's brew for Halloween.
11.
I got 12.
Both of you notice that as they are moving around and creating this concoction, there is, at first, on the surface level, you perceive this element of, this is a coven of hags that have worked together for a long time, and they know each other's movements and what they're doing, and they're sort of almost like a dance. But after a few moments, you realize it's not as in sync as it first appears to be. You see that they are almost competing to see who can grab the best ingredients, and almost rushing to get to the cauldron first. And they don't take turns stirring the pot. They're snatching the spoon away from one another. You sense that there's an underlying animosity amongst this coven, that they tolerate one another, but they don't truly get along. The whole time that they are doing this, they begin chanting, and a lot of the words that they're saying sound like they're nonsense, but the one thing that you hear repeating over and over again is Duathine, Duathine, Duathine. What do you do while they are doing this? You have a few moments while they're essentially performing a ritual. So you have 10 minutes. if you want to attempt anything or do anything.
So the Vorn is passed out, right?
You're unconscious, Vorn.
Can I dream?
Can I have a dream?
I got 10 minutes.
I'm kind of looking around probably more frantically than I'm trying to be still and slow, but I'm just probably more frantic than I intended to be.
Are they paying attention to me at all, or are they focused on what they're doing?
You are not sure.
I'm going to I'm going to pay attention for a moment to see how focused they are on their task versus me.
Okay. I will let you make a perception or investigation at advantage because you are focusing.
That is a dirty 20.
You get the sense that they are taking it in turn to glance in your direction. And I'll tell you in just a moment. What was that one? Oh, geez. So, for the first few moments, Auntie Greenbones seems to keep her eye on you almost constantly. The other two aren't even paying attention. And about 2 or 3 minutes into this ritual, Auntie Greenbones, particularly after getting an ingredient snatched right out of her hands, her focus is broken. She just turns and jumps into this fray of this discordant concocting. So no, they are not paying attention.
So I would like to try, my intention here is to try and move up alongside of Teera. And so again, we established last week that my Artificer Cure Wounds spell is actually a vial.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to try and stealthily move up alongside Teera and use one of my Cure Wounds vials on her.
Okay.
By the time you get next to Teera, I would say Teera, like, her eyes are open and she makes eye contact with you.
I would say make a stealth check at advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Or sleight of hand, whichever's better.
It's a 31.
Jesus.
Well done.
Awesome. Nice.
I don't even really remember how, but I have a 13 plus 13 to stealth. So, yeah.
So, yeah, I think even the gods would have trouble noticing what you're doing. You have no problem administering this Cure Wounds.
And that is, I don't have one there, so it's going to be at second level. It's going to be 2d8. Oops. 2d8 plus 3. That's 12 points of healing for Teera.
Awesome. I am still tragically low. But I am still awake. And I'm kind of like, you would notice, Mizya, Teera's like looking at you. Teera's been one of the few that in this party that have asked you for advice before, like, or a plan of action. And you would notice that there's that same look in Teera's eyes right now, kind of like begging for marching orders almost.
I look back down at Teera with an equally clear look of, hell if I know, I'm not the planner.
Oh, God.
Just kind of like, I'm making this up as I go. I don't know.
Teera would like blink over at Vorn, like would just kind of like skirt her eyeballs quickly in Vorn's direction.
Yep. And I will try again if I have time to do the same thing with Vorn.
I will have you make another stealth check then if you're going to attempt.
Mm-hmm. So with this, if I fail the check, I want to watch them so that if I see any evidence that they've caught sight of me, I'm not going to attempt the heal. But it's a 29, so.
Oh my god! Mizya's the stealthiest of all the stealthers that have ever stealthed.
Yeah, they are fully engrossed in what they are doing, and you do notice that their chanting is growing more and more intense as they are calling out Duathine, Duathine, Duathine.
I only have a first level slot there, so that's 6 points of healing for Vorn.
Vorn. Vorn, you feel
Yes.
a warmth spread through your body as Mizya tips this cure wounds into your mouth, and you awaken disoriented and groggy, half sprawled across Teera with a halfling sprawled across the two of you. You are lying on the floor next to Mizya, and you hear these hags chanting nearby, Duathine, Duathine, Duathine.
Can I really quick, as I feel Vorn kind of lurch a little bit, I want to very smoothly but firmly put my hand on his chest and like push down. Like I want to try to get him to stay still.
And when Teera does that, she will feel his heart racing through his armor. It is pulsing hard in these like really quick pumps, and she can feel in the way that someone who has a lot of action in their muscles suddenly kind of relax, like almost as if like you just popped his back and just like
Oh,
That's
yeah,
what
we've all been there.
and Teera would hear. It's very subtle. It sounds almost like very quiet hissing, as she could hear the queen's hand gather, like its essence in his hand.
Ooh.
And then in a way that smoke sounds, smoke doesn't have a sound, but in this it does.
Yeah.
And it kind of like dissipates, because Vorn was going to leap up and kill them all. And then it just kind of
We have to make a plan. We have to make a mental plan first.
quieted as his body jerks. And also Vorn is awaking from a nightmarish landscape of thousands and thousands of red-eyed orcs standing amongst like a moonless night, like just with red eyes.
You, Teera and Vorn, you feel a stir. Oh, excuse
Oh
me.
god. You can't even get it out. It's so horrible.
So
You feel a stirring of Marda moving on top of the two of you. And you feel like she's like pushing off a little bit, like she's starting to sit up.
I would want to grab Marta's arm. Like I assume she's like trying to push herself up. I want to grab her wrist and like squeeze it.
As you reach out and grab her wrist, you
I want to keep her in the
feel
cuddle puddle.
you feel it limp. As Mizya, you notice next to you, Marta begins to lift up into the air.
Oh god. Oh
And you
god.
realize that several vines have slowly crept their way down from the ceiling and have wrapped themselves around Marta's ankles and are creeping along her back of her head and down her arms as she is starting to lift upwards and be suspended
Nope.
in the air by vines.
Teera leaps up. Teera leaps up at this time. I want to slash the shit out of those vines. I can't let Marta.
I need
Just
you
go.
to make a strength saving throw as you attempt to leap up.
Okay. That's a 26.
You break free of the vines that were wrapping around your ankles.
Ah!
as you leap up. I have one little piece of bad news for you. You do not have your greatsword.
Oh no.
Your greatsword was in your hands when you were knocked unconscious. And it was not picked up by the hags when they had your bodies put up on
Oh no. Teera would triumphantly break free of this vine and be like, and then reach back and just whiff where her greatsword should be. And Mizya would be the only one probably looking, but just fear.
Well, let's
Yikes.
find out.
I don't know. Yeah. Sorry. That's
As
assuming
you
too
suddenly
much.
leapt up, let's see if our coven notices you. So that's
As we're looking to determine if the coven sees anything, I just kind of reach out with my left hand towards Teera, and I brandish my dagger, one of my daggers,
Nice.
and just hand it to Teera.
Sick. Okay.
as
Shoo, shoo, shoo.
as you stand up and the two of you do this, you notice that sudden Duathine. I couldn't have planned that better with that music cue.
Oh my god, the
Jeez.
music.
Oh my
The
gosh.
sting was perfect.
That gave me chills.
How powerful do you feel right now?
As you realize the hags have suddenly stopped, and they turn towards you and they say, Duathine approaches. Do be good guests and kneel before Grandmother Duathine.
I want to lunge at one of these bitches. I don't
As
care which
they
one.
are all the way across, they're about what would be about you were towards the middle, so they'd be roughly 15 feet away on the other side of the cauldron.
Can I gather my Queen's Blade and throw it at them with a psionic strike? Jedi
Before you leap into action, let me finish telling you what is happening.
Yeah. Okay.
We are so chomping at the bit.
Sorry,
I
just
know.
wanna
I don't
fucking
want
kill
to
these
stop
bitches.
you, but
No,
I want you to
okay.
have all of the
Finish
information.
Finish setting the scene, and then we'll kill
As
them all, Ricky.
Marda is sort of suspended, held aloft by these vines.
Oh no.
That wall that's about 20 feet away and is where all the vines have knotted. The vines are starting to unknot. And you watch as the vines begin to curl away, revealing an opening in the midst of the vines. And there is a... it's hard to describe. It's a... I guess the best thing I can think of to describe this is the Darksaber from Star Wars. If black could glow,
Oh god. Hate this.
this is
already.
what's happening as this begins to open up. If you wish to make any actions, we can certainly roll for initiative.
Yes, please.
Okay.
I mean, what else am I gonna do? I
How
have
many hit
to
points?
do something.
How many hit points did a push you give me?
You have 6.
Let's go. That's all I need.
I have 22.
So... Okay.
I want to. Okay, I know what I want to do, but it will still take an initiative roll.
So, I need to find the thing that lets me restart this. I'm going to use the same setup here. Alright. Mizya, what do you got?
For initiative,
Yep.
15.
Teera? Whoops.
16.
Hold on.
Can we say Vorn next?
Vorn, you got a 21.
You got it. Nat 20.
Nice.
Wow!
Nicely done.
Nice job, Ricky.
Ricky did nothing. Vorn is everything.
Okay.
Is everything.
Vorn.
is all.
What would you like to do?
All right. So we got these hags chanting, being ridiculous.
They're about 15 feet away from you, standing with a cauldron between you, but I mean, you can see all three of them.
Okay. Vorn is going to summon his queen's hand. I can stand, right?
Yeah. Takes half your
Oh.
movement to stand up from prone.
Okay. What if I just lay down and throw my sword like a Jedi lightsaber?
That would be at
the nearest
disadvantage.
hag?
You can stand
Jumping.
up. It just takes half your movement to stand up.
Okay, I'm going to stand up, but I'm going to like stand up, jumping leap slash upon the closest crone that I could find. Wait, hold on. Yeah, closest crone I can find.
Pick your pick. They're all three right there at the cauldron. You got Vile Saja, Anti-Green Bones, and Dread Morgana. Dread
Oh,
Morgan.
I am out of control. I'm gonna try to like do a katana swipe that's gonna try to decapitate all three. We'll see how good we are.
Okay.
The closest one that's to me is gonna get the first blade. So
That's going to be Vile Saja.
let's go.
So go ahead and make an attack.
$28.
Jeez.
Yeah.
God damn,
let's go.
Ricky. Yes. It's
Okay.
the night of ruckus.
Okay, yeah, roll damage. Roll damage.
Yeah. And I'm two-handed. So is it 1d10 plus 6 or 1d8?
It's 1d10 plus 6, and then roll 1d10 again, or 1d6 because of the keen edge.
So that's 13 on the first, and then the keen edge. So that's gonna be 6 and 13, so 19 points of slashing damage as I swipe at
That's
the
your
first crone.
first attack.
Yeah.
As you slice into Vile Saja, you cut in as she almost defensively holds up this muscular arm, and she just, as it happens, she just goes, ah!
Oh god. I don't
Go
like
ahead and
how
take your second
confident they are.
attack.
Oh my god.
How is it that I roll a 28?
Are you?
Such a
You're
badass.
just missing crits, aren't you?
Well, geez, if my fire level was one level higher, it would be a crit.
So
Now that I know the rules of this game. Ah.
So, okay, roll damage again. 1d10 plus 6 and a d6.
Oh my gosh. 13 on the first roll. It's gonna be 1 on the second, so that's 17 points of damage.
All right, she continues to laugh, and this time, as you come up close to her and strike, I would like you to make a perception check as you attack Vile Saja.
Perception. Hold on. Order. Here we go. Okay. That's wisdom. That's not perception. Hold on. Sorry. Where's my perception?
Perception is one of your skills.
You'll find it gently nestled below nature and above performance.
Yeah, so it's tied to my wisdom check, so that was the roll 8.
Okay. Excellent. Anything else you would like to do?
Warren's gonna scream out, "You bitch!" as he swings and tries to miss.
Cool.
Okay.
That was a hard B.
He has a hard B.
I'm proud
That
of
was
you.
almost like a rated RB.
That was an R-rated B. 100%.
Let's see.
I accept this.
That is going to be Teera. You are up.
Okay. How high above us is Marta?
Actually,
as
hold
she
on
is-
a second.
Oh, for fuck.
You have a 16.
Yeah.
You are not next.
Well, I'm not next. I am probably not ever.
You are not next as trying to find something that will kill you outright.
That's nice of you.
Thanks, bud.
I think what happens is yeah, I think this is what's gonna happen. From out of the portal that is forming in the vines, a lash of dark lightning energy strikes out at Vorn.
Okay.
Vorn, I need you to make a strength saving
Nope.
throw.
All right, good thing my strength is +7. Let's go. 24.
Okay. The lightning wraps around you and you struggle against it, and the lightning, you almost break the lightning as if it were a rope.
Vaughn yells out, I would not die so easily!
That is very anime of you. I love it. I love it. I love it all.
And he, like, as he says that, the queen's hand materializes in his hand again.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's what's happening on it. So it is your turn now, Teera.
Okay, great. I see Marta. How high above us is she?
Marta is up near the ceiling, so probably the ceiling's about 15 feet high. So Marta's probably 10 feet over your head.
Damn it. Okay. How big is this cauldron?
I would say it's like a 3-foot circumference or diameter.
Teera wants to go up and
diameter,
dump that
not
fucker.
circumference. Okay. It is sitting on a fire. It is hot and full of bubbling liquid.
Don't
Make
care.
a strength athletics check as you attempt to shove the cauldron over.
It's a 14.
You rush up to this cauldron and just with the intent to shove it over, and you slam into it, and immediately you are going to take 13 points of fire damage as you get burned from a combination of the hot cauldron and the liquid, the foul-smelling liquid that splashes on you as it sort of rocks back. You got a good rock on it, but then it and splashes up on
Splashed
you.
me. Okay, that's bad. That's really bad. Okay.
Let me see. Back to the combat tracker. I need Teera. I need you to make a strength saving throw.
That one.
As you pull back from this burning parts of your arms and hands, you feel the vines wrap around your wrists.
Shit.
And both your hands being pulled back upwards as you are lifted up towards the ceiling. Mizya, it's your
She
turn.
wrote, folks.
Vaughn, lay down your arms. This is a losing fight.
Tira's struggling and not getting anywhere, and she looks at Mizya, heartbroken.
Would you rather die? That seems quite silly if you ask me.
Vorn says, "Death before dishonor."
Yeah.
Ha!
kind of like I don't know what Vorn's gonna do.
After he pushes up his glasses.
There's this tense moment as Mizya says that, and Vorn is standing there.
Vorn is taking a piss.
All right, there we go.
Okay, I'm back. What's up?
There he
All right,
is.
Vorn.
Oh, what
Teera
has happened?
attempted to dump over the cauldron, failed, got burned, and then vines or roots came down from the ceiling and grabbed her and have lifted her. Mizya has just told you. Go ahead, Mizya.
Vaughn, lay down your arms. This is a losing fight.
Do you listen to Mizya?
I gotta roll a willpower check.
That's smart.
Hold on, this
That's
isn't
smart.
great.
You can make a
Well, what would you say? Because I'm trying to
I don't
fight
know.
my deep instinct of like everyone's dying and to die weak and to submit. Like, what would you roll, Jake, for that?
charisma, maybe?
Wisdom or what?
I
Insight?
generally, for something like that, I do a wisdom saving throw against myself.
Okay. So
You pick
self-contested
your own
roll,
DC.
wisdom saving throw.
So I
Vorn.
generally just do it. I just do if it's 10 or higher, then I maintain
Okay.
control.
Oh, on the nose, but 10 plus 1, 11.
So
Damn it, you got
so you're barely keeping yourself controlled from.
I'm trembling in anger, in hate and rage, and my eyes are just blazing with red fire and fury. And Mizya, are you? Why?
Would you rather die?
Then what? Submit to these hags?
Well, not die? It's pretty much an either or at this point.
You see the queen's hand kind of like dissipate in Vorn's hand and return back to Shadow Mist. I don't like this, Mizya. Not one bit.
Oh, you're
Fucking
going
words.
to like it even less.
You hear from inside the portal as a figure steps out of this glowing black portal, and you see a woman that looks as if you took all three of the hags and multiplied their age by 3 and combined all of their features into one. She looks like
She's
the
like a
woman.
raisin.
She
She's a
can't,
raisin.
and she looks like the I can't think of her name from Spirited Away, the
Oh,
witch.
I was thinking of that one from SpongeBob.
No,
that
she's-
really, really old.
Oh,
one.
she's-
she's Hocus Pocus.
She's totally this like 5 foot tall, wide, very shriveled grandmother looking hag as she steps forward. She looks over to the witches of the fetid gaze.
I'm disappointed that everything got so out of control before I could arrive. You, daughter of Louth, child of Louth.
As she turns towards you, Mizya.
You seem to have a sensible head on your shoulders. Keep your friends in check.
She raises her hand, and vines continue to wind around Teera and Marta, and they now begin to wrap around Vorn and you, Mizya. Basically lifting you up by the armpits, holding you by the arms. They wrap around your waist and sort of support you, so you're not like hanging like by your wrists or arms or whatever,
would
but
hurt.
you're being lifted up
Mhm.
and being restrained.
Tira's kind of absent-mindedly fighting against all this. She's not like being violent and jerky about it, but she's just kind of like pulling kind of constantly against this pressure.
Where is the other one? Where is he? Oh! We captured him here, grandmother.
And Auntie Greenbones gestures to the painting of Doc.
Oh, fuck.
Ah. Well, I don't think he will be going anywhere anytime soon.
And she speaks a word in, I don't know, does anybody speak Abyssal?
No.
She speaks a word in Abyssal. And Doc, you are released from the painting.
Oh.
And you
Fuck
sort of
off, Doc.
you sort of appear in the room as if the paint of yourself leaches out into the real world, and you sort of just form, and already these vines are beginning to snake around you as you see the rest of your companions all being held aloft above the floor.
Huh.
Teera would yell at Doc, Doc, you have to run!
What?
Run away, now!
As you say that, Doc, your feet are being lifted off the ground as the
Well,
vines
fuck.
wrap
That
around
ship has
you
sailed.
and lift you up into the air.
Now, perhaps we can have a civilized discussion. My children, she turns to the three hags. Take your pet and leave me with our guests.
I don't like this one bit. Nope.
You can see the disappointment in the hags of the fetid gaze as they've just been told this is not a conversation for them. They've been told to get out. As they gather up Vaughn Reed, and they head back out through the entrance of where they came from, leaving you in this cavern with Grandmother Duathine. And we will find out what happens when we come back after the break.
Oh my god, I hate this. I hate her. I hate you. And yeah, I hate Gary the most. Welcome back, Gary, from your
All right.
painting.
With that, we're going to take a break. We'll be back in about 10 minutes. See you on the other side.
Hey!
And we're back. You are all suspended, not hanging so much as you're held aloft by these roots that descend from the ceiling. They support your waist. If anything, your legs dangle loose, but as this woman takes a few steps forward and sort of cocks her head, listening for the footsteps and the snarls of the feral Vaughn Reed as the coven walks away.
Now that we are alone, perhaps we can have a civil discussion. I would have preferred that you're not in this situation, but you seem to have shown that you can't be trusted to behave yourselves.
Also, to behave ourselves, you mean being brought to the slaughter?
You were the
As
ones
he
who
says
drew
that,
weapons.
I look over at Mizya.
You attacked my coven. Nonetheless, I am in charge here. And you will listen to what I have to say. Depending on how you respond, you may yet walk out of here alive. She shuffles forward towards you, Mizya. I have to say, I am most disappointed in you. I thought perhaps you would be a stronger leader. An example for this band of misfits.
Well, I'm quite happy to disappoint you. I've never been one for leading by choice, necessity, perhaps, but no, that's not in this, like, swords and stabby things. It's not really my forte.
I put you in a position, Mizya, where you could take charge of this group and lead them on to great things. A true and great leader does not need to pick up a sword, but commands others to do so. You have failed in that. Perhaps I see why Cari Zolarin chased you out of Minzelbaranzen.
My face just hardens into a deeper scowl than anybody would have noticed in this group.
Mizya backstory, y'all.
You know not of what you speak, for what you say is lies.
There are no lies here. In fact, perhaps I should put all my cards on the table, as they say.
And you see her sort of stretch, and you hear bones popping and cracking as she... And you see her head lift back and pull back almost like a hood. And she stands almost 6 feet tall as she drops this nasty old robes and cloaks. And you see standing before you, Ravona Shadowheart.
Oh no, we're screwed.
I am so disappointed in you, Mizya. It's been so long since I've heard from you. And she traces this spider-shaped brooch at her throat that you all can't help but notice. Mizya wears a very similar brooch.
Yes, well, if you recall, you sent me to watch them, not lead them.
And report back.
Well, I did, and you gave me shit all for information on what was actually happening, and I just decided I couldn't trust you, because obviously, based on everything that has happened, you've put us in some sort of conundrum. What are you up to?
Teera's struggling and vocally and just starting to spit and swear at Mizya.
Teera, shut up.
Fuck off, Drow!
The adults are talking now.
Go fuck yourself. I knew we couldn't trust you. Never trusted a Drow in my life. I don't know why I fucking started.
Ah, yes, and your true colors come forth. Yes, well, you would be dead now if it were not for me. You are awake because I chose to waken you. And if it was not for me stopping Vaughn, you'd be doubly dead right now, and me along with you.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Your
not
conscience is
dead.
fucking clear.
Yes, well, yappity yap yap yap. And I turn back to
Perhaps I was mistaken. The temperament of a leader you do seem to have. Though it seems as though those under your charge lack a bit of discipline.
I would have been fine.
Yes, Doctor would have been quite fine.
Doctor. She walks over towards you. You see that now in this form, you see that she is a pale-skinned elf with long black hair, and she wears robes that are long and white, or sorry, long and black, very, very flowy. As she moves over towards you, Doc, where you are suspended from the ceiling. I don't know you.
Well,
But I know your uniform. Curious. You. All. Have a part to play in my plans. I have learned some things, and I would like to employ you to work for me.
Mizya, what the fuck is going on? Vorn is setting through his teeth.
Oh, I assure you, old Mizya does not know of this new development. Mizya was simply a tool, though it seems an ineffective and barely operating tool. But you are correct, Mizya. I left you unattended, with little to no information. I had other ambitions, myself and my sisters. And we discovered something during our experimentations. Something that I had not anticipated. It requires boots on the ground, as it were. More investigative work, which you have all proven yourself to be quite adept at in your employ for Tellus of Alstay at Candlekeep. She walks over to you, Teera.
Teera is fucking seething. She can't even fucking contain herself.
I must say that your brother, foolish though he was smarter than I gave him credit for. She reaches inside one of her sleeves. She pulls out a length of leather with a crudely made metallic wolf symbol on it. Just like you wear around your neck, Teera. When Torin gave you your necklace, he also had one that he wore around his neck. I don't know who he got to enchant these. She walks over to where you are suspended. She reaches up and just sort of gently, like if somebody's wearing a necklace and you're just gently looking at it in your hand, she pulls it off. This prevented me from locating and tracking you. It's a shame he didn't enchant his as well. It was too easy to find.
I will fucking kill you. I will kill you.
You will want to. I am sure of that. But I believe that you are going to want to carry out this work that I set before you. If you ever want to see your brother alive again.
He's alive. He is alive.
That remains to be seen. Depends on your actions. I am not as cruel as you think I am. I brought a gift for you, Mizya. And she gestures over to one of the tables. And you see, as she gestures, just sort of materializing there, you see some cloth. It's purple. You can just make out some silver embroidery. It's sort of folded up, but you already can sort of recognize this as she makes a couple gestures, and you watch as this cloth starts to unfold itself. It's a Pawafwi, which is a drow-made elven cloak. This particular cloak, this Pawafwi, as she is unfolding it telekinetically, you see it's purple and black, and you see the silver embroidery that forms spider webs. And as she telekinetically lifts it into the air and turns it around, you see the sigil of House Saloran on it. This was Cari Zorlorn's. I brought it for you. Along with this, you see where the cloak was. There is a adamantine ring that is in the shape of there's a I can't think of the word, whatever purple the purple gemstone, amethyst, is that what
Amethyst.
I want to say? Amethyst gemstone in an adamantine spider body, and a couple of its legs seem to wrap down and around and form the ring. You know that ring to have once belonged to Cari Zorlorn as well. The third item that is sitting there, you would recognize almost instantly what this is. This is one of your old spellbooks.
And she's brought them up to, like, are they brought them?
They're
closer
sitting on
where
the
I can see
table.
them on the table.
They're sitting on the table.
How did you get those?
Gauntlgrim has fallen. Perhaps you were unaware you have been on the surface for quite some time. House Cuzorlin had moved to Gauntlgrim. In the intervening years, it has fallen, and these have come into my possession. Does it matter? They are yours.
They are not mine.
They are now.
They were my charges. Where is Cari? What happened to her?
If and when you complete your work for me, you are free to pursue investigations into the Underdark, to Gauntlgrim and House Saloran, or Menzel Peranzan, or wherever else. I don't care. I thought you would appreciate these items. It's a gesture of good faith, if you will.
It's nothing good, but your faith. You've done nothing but lie to me and manipulate me. You clearly need me for something along with these.
I do.
So you will answer my question, or you will get shit from me.
I will tell you what I want you to do. But I will warn you, Mizya. At no point in our nearly century of a relationship, I would like to think of us as friends, but at no point in that time have I ever accepted demands from you or anyone else. And I would caution you just this once. Watch your tongue.
I will do no such thing. You will tell me what I ask, or you will kill us here now.
I would like you to make a intelligence saving throw.
And how about we keep it to killing Mizya here and now? The rest of us are doing just fine. And
21.
Okay, so you will take half damage as whoops, that's too much. Hold on. Hold. Where's the stupid... Oh, it's not showing on there because I'm on a different page. Let me do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll roll one more. 5. Oh, a lot of low numbers. 10, 14, 15, 16, 17, 21. You'll take 10 points of psychic damage as a psychic lance pierces into your mind.
Ah!
Stay your tongue.
You haven't answered my question.
I want you alive. So I will only
Yes, I
hurt
know.
you. I want you and your little band of misfits here to find out what is happening in the Shadowfell to the souls that are destined for the Raven Queen. They are not all making their way to the Raven Queen. And I want to know why. Some souls of the dead are simply getting lost along the way. I have a vested interest in this. You will investigate this for me and report back to me.
And do you think that somehow, after lying to them all these many days, they'll just suddenly trust me and let me lead them along?
Oh. You'll follow Mizya, won't you, Teera?
I look at Mizya, and Teera's essentially, if like she was raging but restrained. That's kind of the look on her face, and then she sees the necklace again in Shadowheart's hand and just kind of like nods.
What about you, Doctor?
What about me?
Where do you stand on what I've told you? Will you go with your allies, or have you some other form of opposition you wish to voice?
I mean, I want to start by saying I'm not standing anywhere. I'm floating in the air, hung by one of these silly vines. So I note your powers of observation are somewhat dubious, which makes me question your overall level of competence in all things, generally speaking. But since you don't know who I am, you don't generally know what I do. And what I do is to mind alone. And maybe I'll go with them to the Shadowfell, and maybe I won't. But that has yet to be decided. Also, you said something about cards earlier. I really like playing Go Fish, if that's still on the table, as it were. Because you said the cards were on the table, so...
It's an expression, Doc. It's an expression.
Oh. So...
I take you to be a man of science, yes?
Yes, I would say that's appropriate. An appropriate description for me. After all, I am one of the smartest people anywhere around. But I'm surprised you wouldn't know that. Because you seem to know everything else. Well, I mean...
So if you discover that an individual, when they die, you are not able to bring them back to life. You are not able to sustain them. But you might be able to follow their soul and see where it goes. Does that not interest you? Does it not
I can't say
pique
that
your curiosity?
it interests me, but I wonder about the origins of it. After all, there's precious little work been done on the transition of soul between living and dead worlds. I will think on it.
Perhaps a demonstration is in order. She walks over to where Marta hangs unconscious still.
No.
What a shame that your cleric is not doing so well.
I mean, she's not my cleric. I don't own her. That's a weird thing
Don't
to
touch
say.
her. Don't touch her.
Teera, this is not a conversation for you. Perhaps you should let me handle this.
Doc.
Oh. What about you, Teera? Do you think you could find your way to the Raven Queen? Your way to the Shadowfell? Or perhaps you could find Torin? This one. I must admit, I don't know her name. I was expecting your turtle friend, but I am told that he is otherwise detained. As much as I would love to have you accompany them, Mizya, perhaps it would be best if you fulfilled your role as a leader in the afterlife. Oh, I'm sorry, no witty repartee now, Mizya?
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you done talking? You seem to be blabbing a lot.
Your insolence is getting to be a problem. Infiliactrum, she says as she turns, and in that instant, as the words leave her mouth, the vines release around the now lifeless body as Vorn falls dead to the floor.
Oh, Teera freaks out. Teera is struggling and screaming and spitting and swearing and like pulling against these vines hard.
She says, I seem to have found the one you care the most about.
I'll kill you. I'll fucking kill you right here. I don't care about the shadow. I don't care about the fucking Raven Queen. I don't care about Mizya. I don't care about any of them. I'll fucking kill you right here. Let me down. Let me down. Fight me.
How would you do that? I mean,
Shut up, Doc.
don't have a sword.
I don't give a shit. I'll fucking rip her apart with my bare hands.
I think that's
fucking kill you right
unlikely.
here. Let me down. Let me down.
Why would
Let
she
me
let
down.
you down? Tira, you need to
Doc.
get your anger under control.
Doc, shut up!
Doc is
I'll-
going to glance down at Vorn's lifeless corpse. And he's going to look up at Tira. And he's going to say, you know, you should be more careful with your feelings. Sometimes they get misplaced. And he's going to glance at Ravona Shadowheart. And he's going to say, so your intention then is to kill everybody and send them to the Shadowfell by some transitory means of getting their soul to where you think it belongs?
Oh, no.
Ah, okay.
Let me
I
down.
needed to ensure that you have a reason to find out where the souls are going. This place we are now, the Temple of the Restful Lily. Here. This is a nexus of sorts for whatever is siphoning off. It is nearby. Well, within the mirror world of the Shadowfell. You may continue your pursuits however you see fit, but in your investigations, I want you to find out more about these Shadowfell crossings. Find how you can get there and track these souls. You now have, as she looks down at Vorn's dead body, a reason to figure out where they're going.
I was gonna do what you said. I said I would. You have my fucking brother. I was gonna do it. I was gonna do whatever you said. Why? Why?
Does anybody else care about your brother as much as you do?
No, that's the point. Doc was gonna go along with whatever you said. Mizya and you are fucking friends. I was gonna do it for my brother. Why? Why did you kill him? There was no reason.
She just told you to send him to the Shadowfell, so we'll have a reason to go. Haven't you picked up? She's devious and evil.
Yeah, no shit.
I would say I am neither devious nor evil. What I am doing is for the greater good of all of Toria. If someone is siphoning off souls, then we...
Classic fascism, yes. The greater good.
I will not discuss politics with you, Mizya. The fractured system of Menzel-Branson runs through your veins. You separate it by as many centuries as you want.
Hey, you picked me to lead them, so don't act like I can't do it, or, you tried to talk down on me after you just tried to talk me up. It's quite silly. Look, it's clear we're going to go do your thing. So
I don't think
let
it's
us
as
down.
clear as you are trying to make me believe. So, I need some insurance. I need to make sure that while you continue to do your work, whether you're pursuing how to unpetrify your turtle friend, or continuing your work for Tellus of Orste and the Great Library, or if you immediately set out to discover what has happened to Vorn in the Shadowfell, you will ultimately maintain pursuit of this knowledge I have set before you. If you find yourself in need of tremendous resources beyond your current means, I am a generous patron, and I will see to it that you have what you need within reason. And by doing so, or in order to do so, I am sending someone with you. Someone who will actually report back to me regularly, who will keep a firm eye on all of you, and someone who has a vested interest in the outcome of this investigation. As she says this, she turns towards the portal, which the roots have begun to writhe and twist, and you see the glowing black smoke begin to take form of a silhouette. Ricky, tell us who emerges from this portal.
As the portal opens up, there is a deep pounding of bass and drums as red eyes flare across the face, and out steps Vornushka with the blood axe dripping with hot red acid, magma-like blood droplets dropping off an obsidian axe as she comes through the portal, 7 feet tall, hair strewn back and dreadlock braids. And she looks at the group, and you can see burn lines from her tears from when her mother died 20 plus years ago. And now similar blood fire tears dripping down her cheeks as her brother has gone. Vernushka, Vorn's sister, with the blood X, steps through the portal.
Oh, shit.
Vornushka, you see the lifeless body of your brother lying on the floor. Do you say anything?
She looks at her brother and she says, I thought I'd be the one to kill you. Well then.
Would Teera notice a resemblance?
You tell me, Vernushka, how much does your full orc appearance resemble your older brother?
Oh, they are definitely siblings. And in fact, Vornushka may be slightly more attractive than Vorn. In terms of her features, they're more angular, they're more defined, they're slightly more feminine, but there is much more anger and fire inside of her eyes. They are a permanent red glow.
Vernushka, you look down where Vorn's dead body lies, and you see vaguely outlined on the floor, smoking, the shadow form of the hand of the queen.
Oh, Vorn. Oh, Vorn, my pitiful brother. Forsaken your gods, forsaken your callings. We will restore honor to our name yet.
You see, Vornushka has a vested interest in the state of Vorn's soul. She will go with you everywhere you go, and she will keep me apprised of your activities. How you get back to Candlekeep, if you choose to go, is not something of my concern right now. You will find your way. She reaches inside her robes and pulls out a leather pouch and hands it to you, Vornushka. This is to assist you in your new party.
It is full of gold coins and platinum coins. There's a total of would be the 50. I had to do some math here. 50 platinum coins and 500 gold coins. There's a total of 1,000 gold coins in there.
Wow.
Also, you see her for a moment, her eyes sort of flutter. And then you hear her shuffling footsteps. As one of the fetid gaze hags is coming back. You see a shimmer of Grandmother Duathine appear. You all can see Shadowheart for who she is, but you sense that she has just put up this disguise for the hag as Vile Saja comes forward with one hand around the thin wrist of Vaughn Reed, dragging him as he's ferally Vile Saja. And she sort of bows. Grandmother Duathine, give it back to him. You see her have this very, like a child being told to give back a toy they had taken. Vile Saja reaches up to that thick muscular arm and pulls what looked like a bangle on her forearm.
Oh,
As she
no.
pulls off the I forget what it's called.
Headband?
Headband of Intellect.
Oh, God.
And she places it upon Vaughn's head. The painting. You see Vile Saja's shoulders sag. She walks over to the painting of the many that were on the walls, or that were set up there, and she takes the painting of the very muscular Vaughn Reed and she hesitantly just places it in the cauldron where it begins to burn and boil away. As she does so, you see Vaughn. I don't feel so good. And he sort of slumps down. Vornushka, if you wish to say something, you can do so. There's just the one hag that's there.
Yeah. Vornushka is going to look into the hag's eyes, and her eyes are flaring red. And she's going to say, our agreement still holds. You know, I have no need for gold or platinum. The agreement still holds with the tribe and with my brother.
You're talking to Shadowheart? She's the one that gave you the gold.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, whether or not you need it, all of you will need it for travel expenses. Not all of them are as accustomed to living off the land as you are.
I want to make sure that our agreement holds.
Any agreements we have made have already been sealed.
Good. And Vernishka says, good. And my brother's body.
What about it?
Keep it in good holdings. Per our terms.
She raises a hand, and the vines come down and slowly begin to snake their way around him, this time wrapping around his legs, and slowly, as they lift him, begin coiling up and around, and till the last thing you see is, as they begin to wrap around his face, completely encasing him.
Teera is like openly weeping at this point. Like, can't hold it in anymore.
When you find his soul, I will have his body for you.
And Vernushka's gonna look at Teera weeping. And she's gonna like smirk condescendingly. Looks like Vorn chose another weak bitch to cry over him.
Oh, Teera's pissed. Teera is doing the thing where she's pulling on all the fucking vines, and he's like, oh boy. It's like, and she would look at Shadowheart, and he's like, if you wanted me on your side, you just made the wrong fucking move. Think I'm gonna work with this bitch?
I mean, you don't have much of a choice. She already has Torin and has access to Vorn's body. So I feel like you're in between a rock and a rock.
I like this one.
Right? Is that the expression, rock and a rock? Yes?
Yeah, rock and a rock.
Well, I will leave you all to get acquainted with one another. She gestures, and you watch as the vines begin moving Vorn's encased body towards the portal. She turns to Vialsaja and says, I suggest you take the other two and leave immediately. I bear no responsibility for what these do when I leave. You see Vialsaja, kind of her eyes get a little bit wide as she looks at all of you and kind of settles in on Vernushka. Grandmother Duathine, we will make haste. And she turns and quickly leaves. For a moment she reaches towards Vaughn, and then she turns and leaves. And you hear her shuffling away up the ramp. There's that shimmer as whatever illusion spell shifts, and Shadowheart looks at all of you and says, well, you have a bit of acquainting to do, and you'll probably want your cleric when it comes to figuring out what's going on with these souls. Turning to you, Vernushka, I expect you to stay in touch with me. She walks over to you, Mizya, and she reaches up and she plucks the spider brooch off of your chest.
When this is over, I will make sure that Teera does not kill you. Because you will die at my hand instead.
You see she... For a moment she's looking, as she was turning away from you, she's looking at this spider brooch. And as you say these words, she turns and looks at you, and you see a slight smile at the corner of her mouth. There's the Mizya I've been looking for. I look forward to it. She turns to you, Vernushka, and hands you the spider brooch. Dwight, you can remove the sending stone from your inventory. Vernushka, add a sending stone to your inventory.
Wow.
And Ravona Shadowheart turns and walks towards the portal. She takes one last look back at all of you. And as she steps through, the vines close up, and as they do, the vines release you, Doc, Teera, Mizya, and Marta falls to the floor. In this room, you are all left with Vaughn Reed in his weakened state, but with his headband of intellect. And Mizya, there is a Pawafwi spell book and the ring that were left as well. And that's where we're going to end this session. I want a fresh session. I want you all to think about how you're going to talk to Vernushka.
You're a
And...
monster. You're a monster.
So
Spectacular.
I'll tell you offline about the ring and the spell book, Dwight.
Wow.
Yeah, and you've got a little bit of a new directive, and you need to wait for Marta to wake up and let Marta know what's going on.
And I need my sword.
Yeah, your sword's somewhere upstairs. Maybe the hags are still there. Maybe they're gone. We'll figure that all out next week for session 64.
Shit.
To be determined what that name is. How many were genuinely blindsided by the death of Vorn and the appearance of Vernushka?
I was blindsided by the appearance of Vornushka, not by the death of Vorn.
I thought
I don't know why. I don't know.
I thought Vaughn was gonna die in the blaze of glory. Like if I was going to die
Yeah.
this session at 6 hit points left, I thought I was gonna go down swinging.
Yeah.
And to be, it felt like if anyone has seen The Matrix, when Cyphers is unplugging the other players.
Oh yes,
and
not like
she
this.
goes,
Not
not,
like
like
this."
not like these, not like this. That's how I felt.
Yeah,
for
I know.
Vaughn.
I kind of wanted, intentionally, if possible, I wanted to be able to.
Once she went over to Marta, I was blindsided a little bit. I was thinking like somebody's gonna die.
Well, you had
thinking it was
asked
gonna
me
be
how
Vorn,
I
but
felt
then
about killing a character when they're not here.
Did say that at
So,
intermission. Oh,
Yeah.
fuck. Incredible.
So, this is.
Thank you.
There it is.
Bhakti.
So we'll see. Next week we'll see what happens. We are going to. I think we're going to throw a raid over to Dream Wisp Jen here in a moment. So thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight, joining us for our story. We always appreciate it, having people with us in the audience. If you're somebody that likes to lurk silently in the shadows, we appreciate you all the same as well. Thank you to Cari and Monty DL for the domain tomes. And
You're welcome, us.
be sure to tune in on Thursday for the Dawnbringers and the reveal of the beginning of the end trailer for the Dawnbringers final season. So hope to see you there for that. And finally, thank you to Gary, Cari, Dwight, Ricky, and though they weren't with us tonight, they were with us in spirit, M, without whom this would just be me talking to myself for a couple hours. We're going to go ahead and end this stream the same way we end every stream. You can say it with me if you want.
La, 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 la.